Today, we're diving into one of those little quirks of the Japanese language that can really trip you up when you're starting out. But honestly, once you get it, it unlocks a whole new level of natural speaking and listening. We're talking about the rawless verb.
So, has this ever happened to you? You're watching some anime or maybe chatting with a friend, and you hear someone say they can see something. But then later, you hear it said in a slightly different way. You check your textbook, and it only shows one version. So, what's going on there? It's a super common question, and it's exactly what we're going to clear up right now.
All right, so before we can get to the shortcut that everyone actually uses, we've got to cover the official rule. You know, the one you'll find in pretty much every single Japanese textbook. This is the foundation we need to build on.
First off, what even is the potential form? Well, it's pretty simple. It's just how you say you can do something. So instead of I see, it's I can see. Instead of I eat, it's I can eat. It's all about expressing ability. And in Japanese, you do that by changing the end of the verb itself.
So here's the textbook rule. For a big group of verbs we call ru-verbs, like miru, which means to see, you chop off that final ru sound and you add rareru. So miru becomes mirareru. That's the formal by-the-book way to say can see.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Because you know language is always changing. And what's written in a book isn't always what you're going to hear on the street. So let's look at the modern, everyday shortcut.
And this pretty much says it all. Look at the left. That's our formal mirareru. Now look at the right. Mireru. See what happened? The raw sound, it's just gone. It's been dropped. This is the famous rawless form. It's just a shorter, quicker way to say the exact same thing.
And this is maybe the most important thing to remember today. The rayless form is not a mistake. It means the exact same thing as the longer version, and it's incredibly common in modern spoken Japanese. You might write the formal way on a test, but you're going to hear the rayless way in conversation all the time.
All right, so the theory is one thing, right? Now let's see how this stuff actually works in real sentences, and how it changes with different tenses. This is how it's really going to click for you.
This chart for the verb miru, to see, just shows how consistent this pattern is. In the present tense, mirareru becomes mireru. For the negative, miraremasen becomes miremasen. And look, it's the same deal in the past tense too, every single time. The only difference is that one little ra syllable just vanishes.
Okay, so here's a classic formal sentence. Watashi wa ima kokuban ga miraremasu. I can see the blackboard now. This is perfectly correct, sounds a little formal, and is exactly what you'd learn in a classroom.
But now, listen to this one. この席からステージが見れました. I could see the stage from this seat. Hear that? Miremashita instead of the longer miraremashita. This sounds completely natural and is exactly what you'd expect to hear from a native speaker.
Now what's really cool is that this shortcut isn't just for those regular ru verbs. The very same pattern also applies to one of the most common irregular verbs out there, kuru, which, as you know, means to come.
And if you look at this chart for kuru, you'll see the pattern is identical. The formal textbook way to say can come is korareru, but the rawless version you'll hear all the time is just koreru. Again, the ra is simply dropped and it works across all the tenses, just like it did with miru.
So, in a formal situation, you might say, 私たちは明日ここに来られます. We can come here tomorrow. Grammatically perfect, totally fine for, say, a business email.
And here's the common, everyday spoken version. 彼女は今日は来れません. She cannot come today. It's the negative form, 来れません, instead of 来られません. It's faster, it's more efficient, and it's 100% natural in a normal conversation.
So after all those charts and examples, what's the most important stuff to walk away with? Let's just boil it all down to the essentials.
Here's what you need to know. First, ru verbs and the verb kuru have these two different can-do forms, the long formal one and the short rawless one. Second, the shortcut is so easy. You just drop the ra. Third, and this is so important, the meaning is exactly the same. One isn't stronger or weaker. And finally, the rawless form is what you're going to hear most of the time when people are actually talking.
And really, that's why this matters so much. This isn't just some trivia for grammar nerds. If you only know the textbook version, you're going to be constantly confused when you're listening to real Japanese. Being able to spot this rawless verb is absolutely essential for understanding how people actually speak.
So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Now that you know what you're looking for, I want you to actively listen for it. Next time you're watching a show, or listening to a song, or talking with a friend in Japanese, pay close attention when they say they can do something. Can you start picking out those ra-less forms? Because I guarantee, once you start listening for them, you'll realize they are absolutely everywhere.